888.
Well, when a torrential storm like that hits, especially the one that we saw on Friday and on Saturday, all too well, we often see this, vehicles just driving through those flooded streets right there. And at this particular area in South Phoenix, we saw several cars stall and have to be towed away. So what kind of damage can all this water do to your car? Here to tell us is David Martin with Martin's Auto Repair. David, it's great to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
You know, on Friday when we were covering those storms and just seeing these cars go through, cars, trucks, I mean, all kinds of vehicles go through that flooded street, that had to be at least 2 feet of water. I mean, what can that do to a vehicle?
Well, we don't get a lot of water like that here.
Yeah.
When we do, it's bad. And we see those in our shop. One story I can tell you really quick is there was a gentleman that owned an SUV, and he followed a car through probably about 3 feet of water.
Oh.
His SUV didn't make it, the car made it, but the SUV didn't make it. And the reason why is because the air intake, where air goes into your engine,
right,
on some cars is lower than others. And if it's on this vehicle, this SUV happened to be below the bumper. So what happened is it sucked a bunch of water into the engine, which water doesn't combust. So what happens, the engine, what we call hydrolocks. And once it hydrolocks, it does engine damage. Like it'll bend a rod, and thousands of dollars to repair that.
I mean, so it's even repairable?
Yeah, well, sometimes it's replacing the engine.
Whoa, and I mean, how much does that cost?
Probably anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000.
Yeah, and which is so crazy because a lot of times we think, oh, it's a small car, that's the one that's going to get the most damage, right? But you don't think about an SUV.
Yeah.
And we saw plenty of that go through those waters.
Yeah.
What about, you know, a lot of people were wondering for these electric vehicles. I mean, what happens when an electric vehicle can go through?
Well, these electric vehicles are very high-tech, and they've got what they call advanced safety systems on them. And those safety systems, kind of like your house has a circuit breaker on it, that if the wire shorts out, it won't burn your house down. It'll kick the breaker off, so it'll stop sending power to that wire. And kind of the same thing with an SUV. They've got like circuit breakers in there to basically, once it gets in the water, it'll short out. It'll send a signal to cut the power.
Yeah, I'm sure you've seen a lot of damage over your years. And, you know, a lot of times after a catastrophic event like this, you know, there are scammers out there trying to take advantage of, you know, people who just are not very knowledgeable about car damage and floods. So what should people look for in case, you know, they think maybe that this car may not be what it's expected to be in good shape?
Yeah, and I can tell you what we see, and it's buyer beware. You're 100% right, buyer beware. Make sure you get the car inspected before you buy it. But one of the 2 things that we see on vehicles that have been in floods, number one car, we looked up underneath the dash, and there was sand packed up underneath the dash. And the only way it's going to get there is if a car was submerged in water. Right. The second thing that's really easy to look for is the carpet. If you lift up the carpet by the front seat, 9 times out of 10, you'll see sand or debris underneath there, and in order for debris to get underneath there, it had to probably be underwater.
Yeah. All right. Good information to know. David, thank you so much for your help and your insight. We appreciate it.